as a naturalist, I'm extremely opposed to some tenets of existentialism. Naturalism believes that there is no supernatural force that exists in reality. There is no spirit, no soul. There is only the brain. Humans are nothing more than a very awesome combination of atoms. Many naturalists say nature is enough. We reject free will, which lets us be more forgiving to people because we would do the exact same thing if we were born in this situation and with their genetics. We believe that reality can be understood and that science is the best way to understand it. We should systematically discover, we believe, every scientific theory and law so we can understand the world enough to manipulate it and make our lives easier and better. Existentialism suggests that reason is impotent. They condone looking through the shrouded lens of emotion to comprehend the world. In fact, existentialists can go so far as to say that they distrust reason. I might appreciate this concept if someone said this maybe 200, even 100 years ago, but now, after physics has a very firm grasp on reality and science is explaining so many things every day, everything we have encountered, with reason, not emotion, that it only seems ignorant and oblivious to me to claim that reason is incapable of explaining the world when it already does a very good job at doing it. In fact, in science, the introduction of emotion to experiments constitutes as bias. Bias is bad, and it is unwanted in every case. Existentialists also like to say that man is condemned to freedom. Beforehand, that it might have been okay to understand that, okay, reason's good. I mean, that's a Western cultural ideal that we like to agree with. But this next one might not be so Western. Most of you believe in free will. So please approach this following doctrine with not this is wrong, but with a what's he suggesting. Western thought, mostly due to Christianity, believes in free will. We, as a majority, believe that each person is able to choose their actions. But before we can stage a counter-argument, we need to define choice in this context. Choice is practically synonymous with free will in the way that Western culture utilizes it. It is something unique to humanity, and it states that humans can make actions solely by themselves. It suggests that in any given situation, a person has more than one choice, more than one path of action to take. Existentialists say that we are condemned to freedom. Existentialists are supporters of free will, so as a naturalist I cannot and will not agree with this, but I would agree with the statement that we are condemned to consciousness, or that we are condemned to humanity. The error in this thinking, the belief that free will exists, is because existentialists are dualists. Alright, so what's a dualist? Dualism is the belief that there is a physical world, but that there's also some spiritual or non-physical part of humans that is separate from the physical world, such as a body, such as a soul and a mind that is separated from the world outside of a body. Monism, what a naturalist is the belief that everything is physical and that humans are fully included in this physical world. Where, then, might you ask, where the mind, the personalities, the person exist? Turning to science to give a reasoned explanation, it shows that all of this and more exists due to the emergent properties of physical phenomena inside the brain. The brain causes this. Free will is an illusion which existentialists and dualists indulge upon. They'd like to state something like, I'm just going to give you one situation, he could have chosen not to have driven drunk after the party. No. They are saying that in the exact same situation he could have done something else, so he is wholly to blame. Each situation has many, many variables and pieces of information that is frequently left out. To accurately explain the situation, for no two are the same, one would have to say that when he was outside in 65-degree weather with a friend talking to him a minute ago, with a blood alcohol level of such and such, and these genes that make him up, and his brain's neural network is this, and in the past this happened to them, and this, and this, and this, and that he drove earlier. You can think of the input of an event as the present and past stimulus. Stimulus is being the sum of all physical things that are happening, or have happened to this man, and the output is the action that is taken. Usually, a situation like this has countless variables and inputs and stimuli, but only a few are detected and talked about. If I push a chair over, I wouldn't say that the chair chose to fall. I would say that it fell because I pushed it over. The brain is more complicated than a chair, though, and it adds so many new variables, inputs, and stimuli that we mistakenly assume that it can defy nature and physics in a similar way to saying that the chair can choose to fall over. The man drank because he just graduated from college. So he went to a graduation party, and he drank because it was a party, and he had to drive home, and he couldn't walk home, so he drove. Even this leaves out so many things that can contribute to his choice, especially the past. Silly things like temperature, place where his car is parked, who he is with, and even things like, I don't know, the orientation of the moon. It could be anything, really. All the things that would make up his stimulus, the things that are acting on him, or the experiences. Saying that he chose to do this is giving up on finding the reason for it. You just say that he made up his own reason, but he didn't. He still has to obey by the rules of nature and physics, and he didn't just choose what to do. The only reason I'm doing this is, for example, is not because just I chose to do it. I am doing it because I was assigned to do an assignment. In conclusion, existentialism, although compatible at some level with naturalism, is extremely antagonistic with some of the core doctrines of existentialism.